So let's talk now about the loop nodes. There are two types of loops in the Koala behavior trees library. We have the while node and the repeat node, and let me show you the examples included in the package. So let's start with the while example. And the while node looks a lot like a condition node. It actually has the same not option that you can click, and it also indicates it in the tree inspector. And it also takes a scriptable object with a Boolean method, and just like in the condition. So I'm using the Koala input conditions, and I'm using the method is key pressed. So, and I'm using the parameter space. So it will check if the space key is pressed. And if it is, it will only run its first child. And this is also indicated here in the information, only runs its first child. So if you give it more children, it will simply never take them. So in this case, it will repeat the sequence, so this whole sequence, every time that while the space key is pressed. If I release the space, this sequence will not run. For this, I decided to go, instead of a priority sequence and standard action nodes, I decided to implement it using the differential action, which we saw before, and you can see it working in the game. So let's load it. There we go. So right now my space key is not pressed, and as soon as I press it, it will start the sequence. If I release it, it will stop the sequence, and if I press it again, it will start the sequence from the beginning. Once it finishes the sequence, it will go and wait for 5 seconds before giving me the option to press the space bar again. So that's the first loop, and it checks against that condition. The second type of loop, which is the repeat node, works in the same way that it will only repeat its first child, no more childs do anything. And if you inspect it, you can for now forget about the methods holder, it's not needed. And you can define how many times you want it to repeat its first child. So in this case, I'm going to put 3. And this number tells you how many repetitions have already been made. So this tree will repeat 3 times this sequence, and then this repeat node, I set the repetitions to 0. When you do this, it will just repeat forever, and again we can test this in our game. There we go. So it will do this sequence of moving up and down 3 times, and then it will move sideways forever. You can see that will happen in a second. Now it will repeat this sequence forever. Okay, so I'm going to check one last node, which is the random node, and it's a pretty straightforward node. So let me load its example. And the random node will select at random one of its children, but it's actually a weighted decision. You can assign weights for the probability of choosing each one. So if I write here 10, then it's 10 times more likely that this random node chooses the first child, and you can play with different numbers to get the probability distribution that you need. And actually this example can be run in the editor, so I'm just gonna tick it a few times, and you can see that it chose the second action first. Then I tick it again and it chose the third one, and then I can tick it again and it chose the second one again, etc. So okay, those were loops and random nodes, which I think are pretty simple. As usual, please leave comments to let me know if you like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.